Hello students, today we are going to start with the chapter 5 of civics, that is working of institutions. In a democracy, the rulers have to follow some rules and procedures. They have to work with and within institutions. There are three institutions that play a key role in the major decisions, and the institutions are legislature, executive, and judiciary. So, this chapter is about the working of such institutions in a democracy. How is a major policy decision taken? Let me give you an example of a government order. On August 13, 1990, the Government of India issued an order. It was called an Office Memorandum. Like all government orders, it had a number and is known by that OM number 36012 oblique 31 oblique 90 established SCT dated 13/8 1990. The Joint Secretary, an officer in the Department of Personnel and Training in the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, signed the order. It was quite short, barely one page. It looked like any ordinary circular or notice that you may have seen in school. The government issues hundreds of orders every day on different matters, but this one was very important and became a source of controversy for several years. Let us see how the decision was taken and what happened later. Students, this order announced a major policy decision. It said that 27% of vacancies in civil posts and services under the Government of India are reserved for the socially and educationally backward classes, SEBC. SEBC is another name for all those people who belong to castes that are considered backward by the government. Now the question is, who decided to issue this memorandum? Clearly, such a big decision could not have been taken by the one person who signed that document. The officer was merely implementing the instructions given by the Minister of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, of which the department was a part. We can guess that such a major decision would have involved other major functionaries in our country. So, let's find out how does the system of decision making work. We already know that president is the head of the state and is the highest formal authority in the country. Prime Minister is the head of the government and actually exercises all governmental powers. He takes most of the decisions in the cabinet meetings. Parliament consists of the president and two houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The Prime Minister must have the support of a majority of Lok Sabha members. So, were all these people involved in this decision regarding the office memorandum? Let's find out. Students, this office memorandum was the end result of a long chain of events. The Government of India had appointed the Second Backward Classes Commission in 1979, which was headed by B.P. Mandal, and that is why it was popularly called the Mandal Commission. It was the responsibility of this commission to determine the criteria to identify the socially and educationally backward classes in India and recommend steps to be taken for their advancement. For this, the Commission gave its report in 1980 and made many recommendations. One of these was 27% of government jobs be reserved for the socially and educationally backward classes. After that, the report and recommendations were discussed in the parliament. For several years, many parliamentarians and parties kept demanding the implementation of the Commission's recommendations. When the 1989 Lok Sabha elections about to take place, in election manifesto, the Janata Dal promised that if voted to power, it would implement the Mandal Commission reports. Now, the Janata Dal did form the government after this election. Its leader, VP Singh, became the Prime Minister, and several developments took place after that. For example, the first one, the President of India, in his address to the Parliament, announced the intention of the government to implement the recommendations of the Mandal Commission. On 6 August 1990, the Union Cabinet took a formal decision to implement the recommendations. Next day, Prime Minister VP Singh informed the Parliament about this decision through a statement in both the Houses of Parliament. Then, the decision of the Cabinet was sent to the Department of Personnel and Training. Finally, the senior officers of the department drafted an order in line with the Cabinet decision and took the minister's approval. After which, an officer signed the order on behalf of the Union government. This was how OM number 36012 31 90 was born on 13th August 1990. Students, for the next few months, this was the most hotly debated issue in the country. Newspapers and magazines were full of different views and opinions on this issue. It led to widespread protest and counter protest, some of which were violent. Why do you think people were against this memorandum? People reacted strongly because this decision affected thousands of job opportunities. But some felt that existence of inequalities among people of different castes in India necessitated job reservations. Some felt that this would give a fair opportunity to those communities who so far had not adequately been represented in government employment, while others felt that this was unfair as it would deny equality of opportunity to those who did not belong to backward communities. Who do you think should be approached to resolve this dispute? Yes, Supreme Court and High Court in India should be approached to settle disputes arising out of governmental decisions. Likewise, some people and associations who opposed to this order filed a number of cases in the courts. The Supreme Court of India bunched all these cases together. This case was known as the Indira Sahni and others versus Union of India case. 11 judges of the Supreme Court heard arguments of both sides. By a majority, the Supreme Court judges in 1992 declared that this order of the Government of India was valid. At the same time, the Supreme Court asked the government to modify its original order. It said that well-to-do persons among the backward classes should be excluded from getting the benefit of reservation. Accordingly, the Department of Personnel and Training issued another office memorandum on September 8, 1993, and the dispute thus came to an end, and this policy has been followed since then.